Well, Happy New Year to you. So we're going to start this new year with a photo regime that will help make you a better photographer. So my name is Craig Roberts and I'm your personal trainer. So going to the gym is all about getting fit, losing weight, and no doubt using muscles that you've not used for quite a long time. In the process, you get exercise, you lose a few pounds, you build up those weak muscles and generally get yourself more healthy and feeling better. Well, the same ethos can be applied to your photography. So let's start the new year with a new regime, as I say, as it's time to ditch the auto modes weighing you down, using modes and features maybe not flexed for a while, and get yourself photo fit and feeling better about your photography. So we're going to exercise your skills by using your camera to its full capabilities with these 10 fantastic workout skills. Number 1, track your exposures with the histogram. Now, just like a fitness tracker, you can track your images by using the histogram to make sure your exposures are in great shape and performing at their best. This great feature on digital cameras lets you see your images are correctly exposed or whether you need to overexpose or underexpose the next shot. Therefore, you need to learn how to read the histogram. For instance, if it's too far to the left, means your images may be too dark and not getting enough shadow detail. Too far to the right and your images are overexposed and you're losing detail in the highlights. Not good. So you want to aim to get your histogram biased to the right, resulting in good shadow detail, but not so far that it's clipping, meaning your whites no longer have any detail. You can see the histogram together with the image it corresponds to on your camera's LCD screen, and therefore you have two visual references. So try taking a few images at different exposures and see how the results compare. You'll soon see how the histogram responds in different results, and with a few adjustments to either the aperture or shutter speed, your images will be nicely balanced and fighting fit. Result, good start, you're doing well, so let's move on to the next core skill. Number 2, flex your lens choice. Now you can expand your camera's shooting potential simply by being more flexible with your focal length choice. Ask yourself, are you using that zoom lens to its full potential? When was the last time you took a telephoto landscape image, for instance? Are you really making the most of the widest focal length you have? Now you can easily check the focal length of each image you take simply by looking at the EXIF data. I bet you find a lot of your images are taken at similar focal lengths. It's something we all do and why there are common focal lengths on lenses. So to make a change, you could restrict yourself by shooting only at extreme ends of the zoom lens you have. Alternatively, if there's a particular focal length that you don't seem to use that very often, say 35mm within your 24-105 zoom, why not restrict yourself to that zoom position only and give it a workout? But to make sure you're not tempted to cheat, you could lightly tape the lens barrel with some masking tape, just to gently hold it at this focal length and then go out and find subjects to suit this fixed angle of view. It's a good workout for you too, training your photographic eye to find suitable images and compositions rather than zooming in and out to suit the subject. It makes you work harder to find those subjects and frame them effectively. Now once complete, you should find yourself using your zoom lens in a different and more effective way, making full use of its variable focal length range, but with a better understanding of the focal length currently in use. Result, another good exercise completed, but still a lot more work to do. Number 3, change your white balance diet. Now if you're a complete beginner, then chances are you shoot with the camera on the auto white balance setting. Whilst this is a good option, especially whilst you get used to using your camera, there is a whole range of settings to use from, and each can form part of a healthy white balance diet. So start by taking control of your camera and decide the resulting colour temperature images yourself. So let's add some more to your images, for instance, so try increasing the white balance rating. Anything between 5500K and 5500K. Anything between 5500K and 6500K will give you a pleasing warm tone look to your image. Or if you want to do it quickly and easily, just change the white balance to the shade or cloudy preset. If you shoot raw, more on this later, you can change this when you process your images, but it's a good way to see and understand how the numbers in Kelvin rating affect your images. Now if the camera is set on auto white balance, then morning and evening landscapes will automatically be adjusted. However, this means you may be missing out some moody, cool looking tones in your images. Try instead to shoot in the sunny daylight setting to see the real effect. You could then change to the tungsten setting to add a cool tone to your images, great for dawn shoots and where any mood can be enhanced. This tungsten setting can also work really well with modern architecture, complementing a rigid steel and glass structure to great effect. So experiment with all the different white balance settings, see how they can affect your images, and vary your diet for creativity. Result, we're making good progress now, so let's keep this energy going. Number 4, lose a few ISO calories. Now this is another setting you may have set on auto by default, leaving the camera to decide on the final setting. However, the camera may not always choose the most ideal setting, as it won't know your exact shooting situation. This means you may be shooting with too many ISO calories, and therefore the camera may be selecting ISO 800 when ISO 200 is more than enough, which would give a better quality image overall. Now this is especially so when shooting with a camera on a tripod, as the resulting shutter speed from a low ISO setting probably won't be as important, because the tripod keeps the camera nice and steady no matter how slow the resulting shutter speed. Now to your advantage, this may also mean the resulting shutter speed from using a low ISO setting adds some welcome blur, and therefore more creativity to your result. High ISO settings are ideal when you are hand holding, especially in low light, and can make the difference between a sharp or a blurred image due to camera shake. However, using a tripod for support is not something your camera will recognise, and so you need to tell it that it can now choose a slower shutter speed by you changing to a lower ISO. Once you start experimenting with these resulting slow shutter speeds, you'll soon discover there's a whole new world of possibilities with your images, as subject blur becomes a key factor. Result, great job. Let's take this training up a level, no slacking now. Number 5, start training to use manual mode. Now if you really want to get photo fit, the best way to shoot is in manual mode. Program and semi-auto modes are great for convenience, but to really take control, train yourself to shoot in full manual mode. With the dial set to M, you are now in full control, and you can use the camera as a finely tuned picture taking machine. You can start by using any aperture you like, or any shutter speed choice, or a combination of both of course, again using the histogram as your guide and your personal trainer. Overexpose, underexpose, bring back the detail in the shadows that the camera hasn't accounted for, or reduce the brightness where the camera has otherwise been fooled. Of course, manual mode needs time and thought to work with, so it isn't ideal for fast action or where things, such as light, are changing quickly. However, when you do have the time and you want full control of your image results, then manual mode is for those photographers who really want to work out. Result, a tough challenge, but you cope well. Well done. It's a midway point now, so let's dig deep. Number 6, use different metering modes for their core strengths. Now just like we did when switching to manual mode, you can take more control of your camera by using different metering modes. Matrix or evaluative metering have their strengths, but they also have their weaknesses. So using metering modes with a more selective measuring aspect can be a huge advantage in many situations. Now it depends on your camera make and model, but you may have the option to choose partial metering or spot metering modes, or even both. Their core strengths are being able to measure a scene in a more precise way, eliminating any distractions that could confuse your camera's overall reading of the scene. If the view is backlit or of high contrast, for instance, then evaluative metering can struggle to decide the most important area to read from. So instead, if you switch to one of the other alternative metering modes, you can measure the most important part of the scene for a more precise reading. Exercise using these modes a few times in different situations, and you'll soon begin to see the benefits in no time at all. Result, you're looking good and we can see the benefits already. Ready for another? Number 7, get manual focus fit. Now the autofocus on modern cameras has become an essential feature, and in many cases is faster and more accurate than our own judgment and reactions. But there are times, however, when it too can struggle, or it simply is more convenient to focus ourselves, and this is another feature we should exercise more often. Now autofocus systems can easily be fooled by distracting objects moving in front of the camera at the wrong time, and often these need to be ignored. Autofocus can also struggle with low contrast subjects or when using certain filters. Therefore, manual focus can be more beneficial in such circumstances. Manual focus also comes into its own when using a tripod, as we don't have to move the camera to focus on a certain point and then recompose. If speed isn't of the essence, then manual focusing the lens puts us back in control. So practice your camera focusing skills, using the zoom feature on live view if necessary, and train yourself not to rely on the camera to focus if it simply isn't necessary. Result, we're on the home straight now, just a few more exercises to peak fitness. Number 8, give compositions a workout. Now, composition can make or break an image, and whilst the rules of composition are an essential guide, these can be broken now and again. Now, using the same compositions with every image time after time can unfortunately lead to dull and repetitive looking images. So it's important to keep things fresh and give your compositions a workout. It is important, however, to learn the fundamental rules of compositions first and make sure you fine-tune these. But with that done, you're free to flex your composition skills and vision to frame your images to suit the subject. Now, as I said, you can break the rules occasionally to keep your images fresh and fit. So by all means, apply the rule of thirds, but alternatively, place your subject dead center too if it works. Bias the landscape compared to the sky in your frame, but go the other way too if the sky is dramatic enough. It's also common to add foreground to create a sense of depth and balance, but try an image without an obvious foreground if the scene has enough interest on its own. The rules of composition are a guide only, so be flexible and think creatively. Result? Well, no one said this was going to be easy, but I'm really pleased with your progress. Number 9, stay fit with a choice of framing formats. Now, just like composition, there are many framing formats to choose from, so don't always use the same one every time. The 35mm digital SLR camera produces an elongated rectangle by default, so the first alternative to this horizontal view is the vertical format. This emphasises foreground and is great at removing distractions to the left and the right of the frame too. Next, the square crop removes tension and suits minimalist views. Using this format will strengthen the bold composition and add calm and serenity to your images. A great format for cleansing the soul. Now, cropping your images on either end makes them similar to the 5x format used in large format cameras. This cropped rectangle can be used to trim the composition, keeping it tighter and cleaner looking, and makes a healthy alternative to the elongated rectangle. Now, if you want to stretch things out a bit, then consider a panoramic crop. This allows a much wider field of view, ideal for big vistas. However, don't forget to keep your images tight and in shape, as a largely empty view without a focal point is soon going to become dull to the eye. Result: now you're in top form, but no time for rest though. There's one more to go. Number 10, lose weight by shooting with one camera, one lens. Now, there's a great advantage to slimming down to the basic kit, and it's one of the best ways to keep your photography finely tuned and in great shape. This is best done with a prime lens rather than the zoom. The benefit of this is that with minimal kit, you have less to carry around, but also less options to shoot with. This is a positive thing, however, and actually opens up more possibilities as it helps keep your mind sharp and your vision well trained. We can easily become bogged down with too much kit, too many lenses and accessories that can actually distract from our shooting workflow. However, if you keep your kit to the minimum, you can carry it for longer without feeling tired, and therefore your mind will be fired up to spot great images and you'll be on the ball, ready to leap into action. Well, result, you've done it. You're photo fit and you're ready to take on any subject. Keep up the daily workout with your camera, and this will give you a strong, healthy workflow. Well, you've earned an extra skill with all your hard work, so as a final workout, let's shoot raw. Now, whilst JPEGs are the camera's default and most convenient format to shoot in, nothing opens up your camera's full potential than shooting in RAW format. Basically, this means your camera has not made any permanent adjustments to the resulting image, and you're free to work with a basic but fully detailed image from scratch in post-processing. You can make adjustments to exposure, contrast, white balance, color saturation, change it to black and white, and then back again if you like, all without sacrificing any quality to the image file. So this is the ultimate workout for your images back home on the computer, so you can carry on where you started off, out in the field. Right, I'm off for a lay down.